Now I'm speaking with Mr. James Granter of Greenspond. How old are you, Mr. Granter?
I will be 18 now in the coming March.
Is that right?
18 the coming March, yes.
Well, I would think you're about 60.
Oh, well, that's pretty good anyway.
What do you attribute your long life?
Well, I've had a free life.
And of course you haven't married. And
What I mean to say, a fisherman's life, I know, have been hard all down through the past years, up to this last, perhaps 15 or 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, the fisherman's life was a drudge right through. Yes, very hard life. And the whole people mostly used to be home far or home shore fishermen. Older people. Not so today. Since the old people have died out, the younger people have took over, but the number of fishermen has gone back terribly. The first year at the Fishermen's Federation, we had 63 boats fishing out of Greenspond. 63 boats.
when was that now? How long ago was that?
That's 18 years ago. Let me see, that would be 18 years past. The Fishermen's Federation started. And now, today, we only have 12 boats.
It's a big come down, isn't it?
That's a wonderful falling off, yes. We've only had 12 boats that sell their fish to the fish plant. But I think the reason that the fishermen have died out here in Greenspond is through our fish plant. Once our fish plant went back, the fishermen started to move out, doing other places and doing other work, you know. Their summer's work. Lots of them went to St. John's, most of them went to St. John's, essentially to work.
Mr. Granter, do you think that story is true about Greenspond? The first settlers come here was a Mr. Pond and a Mr. Green?
No, I do not.
No?
No, I don't know. Except for a lot of people. Now, there have been several times, there have been questionnaires put out, you know, asking, see, about Greenspond and the first settlers and the name. Well, now I'll tell you something. When I was a very, very small boy, I got a good memory, around 2 years of age, about 2 years of age, I can remember.
78 years ago.
78 years ago. The old people at them days, in the evening, after the fishery was over in the evening, they all get together and have a little chat, you know, a little yarn, you call it, and they sit around on the rocks. Sit around. Now, there's a place just up there, the road a little ways. It's called Mousey. Now, there's a place on the French shore called Mousey, where they used to go the years ago and all in stern to the land all around, and they were safe under there, safe harbor. Well, now they named that Mousey. Well, now just down the road there, a little ways, there's a rock there, and that used to be another place where they used to sit around. That was called Bed Fly Rock, or Bed Flea. That was called Bed Rock. Where the babies are there, I don't know. And then just down a little ways further, just as you take the hill, what we used Benzeal. That's Benzeal down there. The Uncle Benny Berry used to live there. He's well, in fact, there was two old people called Benjamin Berry, but that's where they used to live there. Right by that little shop was there. And there's another little place there. They used to boil their bark. used to boil their patent or their bark for the back, their nets, you know, seal nets and salmon nets and cod nets mostly. Not many traps there because there wouldn't used to be any traps used there then. And that was called Barkpot Cove. That was called Barkpot Cove. Well, now it wasn't very large, but the barrels and the puncheons in them days, it was puncheons. They used to put their nets into those puncheons and then they pour the bark in on them. Well, now, Uncle Job Berry, he's called always aunts and uncles, you know, and he used to send in the bay in the early winter or in the fall. There were people up there in Air Bay called Wiseman. John Wiseman and Robert Wiseman, I know them too, and they used to pick a flour barrel full of buds for him every winter. And in the spring, he boiled those buds. A lot better than cutch, you know. He calls it cutch now instead of patent bark. We always call it patent bark, but it's just cutch now. And he had this barrel of buds. Well, now to take 5 or 6 hours would pours for the steep the bark out of those buds. But to stay into the twine a whole lot longer, and the cutch would, or at least the bark now would cutch. But that's the only man that used to use buds. And we boys, you know, used to be around her, and after the buds was thrown out, why, you know, we'd be flicking them at one another, and some got a black eye on it.
What do you remember the Christmas, Mr. Granty? The old-fashioned Christmas when you were a boy?
It is there were some fancy times. We had some good times. They used to dress up, you know. Well, that's how my father first, and my uncle used to dress up and go down to as far as the Cape. Cape down below Newtown. Yeah. And they'd be gone a week. They'd be gone. Now, what they call mummering them then. Yes, gone a week. You know, every night they'd have their dance. And then there'd be a big scarf cook, you know. What they called a scarf, and then they were generally, I suppose, turds, because they used to kill a lot of turds and ducks down there. And they'd be gone a week, right on and all the time.
You wouldn't do any work for 12 days, would you?
No work. But we used to get around, you know, and first thing we'd want is the pipe. Well, you could get the clay pipe them days. There was one kind called the raker, and he'd rake out, you know. He'd come out and rake out. That was a raker. Mm-hmm. And the next one was an upright bowl. Used to call it a TD pipe. And we used to say it was Tommy Doughton, see? Tommy Doughton. Well, now, we dress up, and we go around, we have a dance, you know. We generally have a carry-in. We've had some fine times. Well, now there was, that went on all through the years, up to now, the late years, and that's dying out now. That's definitely dying. Then, there'll be another half a dozen or 10 or 12 down the harbour. Used to march up there at Christmas and in Christmas week, all dressed up, and used to go over there to Mr. Kennedy's. This is where they go, and they spend the whole evening, you know, dancing over there. Well, to be late, or in the early mornings before they go back home again, because then they'd have their big pot put on the stove, you know, and cook a good meal for them, you know, before they go home. So now that was that crowd. But we used to have the pipe, and we get around in the kitchen. Our mothers used to spread out a white cloth, you know, a sheet or a tablecloth or something, and we get the soap, you know, and you used to wet the bowl, the pipe in the soap, and then putting in the water and then blow, and you blow the bladders. Now try to keep it up. We keep it up, so, for quite a while sometimes. Yeah. So on the whole, we used to have a good time. And then now we'd have the pipe, and we bought some tobacco, but we wouldn't be allowed, to smoke. And then tobacco was very cheap too then. 10 cents a stick. T&B was called T&B. It was 10 cents. And then it was I just forget the name of it now. But that was a little bit dearer. That was, I think, about 15 cents. And we used to go and scrape the wood, the spruce wood, But that used to sting your tongue pretty good. But we smoked until our tongue was just about split, a crack in the tongue.
What would the mummers, would they recite things when they come in?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember any of the recitations they did?
No, not often. Not often they would.
Was there a play they put off? I heard some of the old people say that they would recite...
Yes, well, I never heard much of it.
Napoleon.
Yes, one would be a minister, and another would be a doctor, and another would be a general or something like that, And they all had their name, and then they would repeat. But I never heard it, just the same. They would repeat in a little verse, a little something.
Would they shoot off the guns Christmas?
Oh, guaranteed.
When? What time during?
That would be 4 o'clock in the evening.
Beginning of Christmas week?
4 o'clock in the evening, that would be Christmas Eve. 4 o'clock. And they had those ceiling guns then. Or the ceiling guns, and they'd be popping up here in Pawnhead and popping up down the harbour, for a little while. And on Christmas Eve. But on the whole, it was pretty good. Everyone would enjoy themselves. Everyone would enjoy themselves. Good. And the old people would be quite satisfied, at Christmas time, for the little give you on way, in a way, at your own swing.
What kind of food would they have Christmas Eve? Watered fish, I suppose. Eh?
Oh, guaranteed, yes. Guaranteed. We had the cocoa. We used to have the little pack of cocoa then, peck, and about 3-inch square. It's good too. Certainly good. And water fish. Oh, water fish. Every home would have their water fish on Christmas and Christmas Eve. That wasn't choice, water fish. And cocoa. But
what about Christmas Day, Mr. Granter?
Well, now first about cocoa and fish, but there wasn't a great lot of sugar in when I was 3 and 4 year old. A very small. There's only sick people. The only sick people would get a chance for a cup of sugar tea. Molasses, but it was good. Molasses was good, all right. Good and sugary. And milk, there was no milk in there. No milk. Only just as I said, there might be a 10 just for that sweet, what we call the sweet milk sometimes,
Is that what they call switchel tea?
and more south homes would have the kettle, Had the kettle that they made from the tinsmiths used to make the kettle, but it was good. It was certainly good. Certainly good then. And the bread, but the flour, most times was very poor. Very poor.
That's why they would eat hard bread, I suppose, eh?
Yeah, well, yes, the hard bread was good. But I've seen as 4, I can't say 4 names. You call it now this time. You call it Cinderella, or you call it
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, or yes, no, Pillsbury Bits. That was generally the name of it. I've seen 4 of them placed on one barrel. They couldn't sell. Perhaps now the first they had placed the first mark. That wouldn't sell good. Well, they stick another one on top of that again, And that wouldn't go. They may have that for 6 months or a year, and then they stick another one on it, the same flower, only just a different name. Said you would be bluffed that way, you know. Yes, yes, you would be bluffed that way. But on the whole, it was bad times. I've seen hard times in Greenspond. I've seen hard time people. It was a common thing for to see half a dozen orange men or people going around wintertime with a slow catamaran, making collections for the poor people, making collections. It was pretty tough in them times. Pretty tough, sir, because they wouldn't make enough in the summer season to take the family through in the winter, you know? And therefore they had someone that, and you get nothing from the government then. $5 a quarter, or $5 a month, or something like that. Yes, yes.
Starvation.
Oh, it was really, really. But there's another thing I'm going to tell you about now, so long as you're started, and that's about the flakes. Now, this road, when he was put through Greenspond, he passed right through all the fishermen's premises, right? No lease or license, only just put the road through. And that was all right. Well, when they put it through, there were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 7 flakes, fish flakes, all out over the road. You had to pass in under the flake for on the road. Well, now we had one there, not me because I can't remember a great lot, but I can remember when the flake was there, just the same. He could spread about 100 candles of water off fish. He sat right here in my little bridge where we come in over then, and he was 15 foot high up over the road. And he went on down there to that second house that Mrs. Chetty rented there, you know, just up next door there. And he went out over the road. Well, now, that went on for a number of years. I don't know many, but I know it was a long time. Well, now, a magistrate come, and he acted as policeman, what we call policeman then, constable now. Well, he acted as constable and magistrate. Bridle. His name was Bridle, and the old people used to call him Old Bridle. Old Bridle. But anyway, the time come, Bridle was going to take down all those flakes out over the road. See? And you know, he was up in arms over because it's their land, and he wasn't paid anything for putting it through on any time, but anyhow, he was going to put up a fight over this. So the first flake was right down there, just as you falls down over the hill, Benziel, buried. Well, anyway, they come up, and they saw the flake down, out level with the side of the road, you know, and pushed it out over. They saw that one. He had 3, 4 men with him. And anyway, they come on up again, and then there was another family of burries there. They had quite a large flake, and they saw that one down. Now, one of my grandfather's brothers, Thomas Granter, he was a small little man, but he was a whistle. He wouldn't want to allow his flake down. No, that flake is not coming down. So he walks down on, there used to be a long bridge here with a light, and we used to have lights years ago, you know, way back in my boyhood day. And an old man down the harbour named Wormall, he used to come up, you know, and light those lamps every night and put them in this little shutter place. And every evening he'd come up and light those lamps. Well, now there was one there, and that's what used to make it light, you know, for passing under this flake. But anyway, all right, he comes up to Uncle Tom, they call him. And he was sat on the bridge, on the foot of his bridge, with a field gun. Got him all on there. So they come out. Now he said, Bridle, when the first shore falls, you falls. Well, certainly, you know, the women, you know, they were crazy, you know, afraid he was going to shoot him. He said, I know if I'm going to be hung. But he said, hung or not, he said, I'll have you first. So, you know, the people was crazy, you know. He was that kind of a man, you know, he would tell. But anyway, they stopped for a little while. And he rolled up his finger to his name he had there, and he passed the flick, never touched him. And he went just there, and Mr. Stratton, and he saw that one down. They went a little further up, berries up there again, 2 family berries, a flake out over, and he saw that one down and pushed it overboard, out and found it. And then they went up to White's, another place up there by the co-op store now, or just up to the co-op store. And he saw that one and pushed it out over the road. And he walked down the harbour again and never touched it. And that flake was there for 20 years after that. Never troubled it after. The only flake that was laid. The only flake that was laid. So, they got together after that. Long time. I just can't remember the number of years, but it went up for 20 years. And they decided they'd taken the flake down their own self. They was all up in age, he said, you know, old age. And they take the flake down, so they took the flake down their own self. Yes, but